Hi, this is my audience for my second speech. Okay. Today, I'm going to talk about the negative impacts of social media on today's youth. The unattainable illusion of having a perfect life or a perfect standard of beauty is negatively impacting today's youth and others. I would like to discuss how social media is negatively impacting today's society by setting unrealistic expectations of what life and beauty should be. We are living in the digital age where social media is everywhere, and it is important for today's youth to understand that constantly being exposed to the perfect lives of these individuals on social media could cause unrealistic life expectations about their own achievements and appearance, which can lead to lower self esteem. I am currently personally invested in the topic because I have a daughter who loves to be on social media, and I would never want her to feel as though she is less than because she has not met the unrealistic beauty and life achievement standards of someone that has made them up just for views. I will be discussing how social media comparisons, validation seeking, and cyberbullying on social media can have negative effects. Let us begin by talking about the illusions of perfection, comparisons, and the fear of missing out. In an article by Molly Smith in 2023 on news.llu.edu, lives that seem perfect, the ideal body types, and flawless appearances and constant life updates can unfortunately cause someone to compare themselves with the distorted representations of a perfect life. And comparing oneself to unrealistic expectations of others on social media can cause someone to become unsatisfied with their own life and leading to low self-esteem and low self-image. The constant comparisons can cause body dysmorphia as well as feelings of inadequacy. The often curated nature of social media news feeds fails to show the entirety of one's experiences, leaving only the best parts for everyone to see and not the harsh realities that are the truth of one's usual life. Following the constant life updates on a seemingly perfect profile could also cause feelings of missing out. The feelings of missing out can cause someone to have unrealistic and elevated expectations of where they should currently be in their lives. Those unrealistic and elevated expectations will potentially end in constant dissatisfaction about one's own life, causing low self-esteem and low self-worth. Now let us move on to discuss reassurance and seeking validation through social media. Reassurance and validation seeking on social media becomes a problem when the user seeks it out more frequently and becomes dependent on that validation. Frequent reassurance is extremely addictive and almost like a drug. A person struggling to like and accept their body image often posts revealing photos which usually really a lot of likes and comments, which makes them feel better in the moment, but not for long. Some people who are feeling down and lonely are more likely to make a social media post to get likes and comments to feel less lower than they were to see friends and family instead to help them with their loneliness. Instead, they just post on social media to get the comments so they don't feel as lonely, which is only a short-term solution rather than fixing the actual problem. There are ways to be able to fix this vicious cycle. Figure out what your motivations are by asking yourself why you're posting these things. Are you seeking approval in an unhealthy way? And even ask yourself, will you be upset if you don't get the reaction that you are wanting? Do things that effectively address your problems instead of trying to pretend that they are not there. When you go on social media and see things that trigger you, unfollow that account or simply lessen your use of the app. Which are some solutions that you can use so that you do not fall into that vicious cycle. We can now move on to discuss the harmful effects of cyberbullying on social media. And here is teens who use social media 7+ hours a day are more than 2 times as likely to have been diagnosed with depression. Primarily negative effects of that are exposure to cyberbullying, inadequate sleep, and lack of activities outside. Since the explosion of social media platforms within the last decade, cyberbullying has become increasingly common. According to Gary Giametti and Robin Kowalski of ScienceDirect.com, cyberbullying is defined as repeated, aggressively intentional acts using social media as a form of contact against individuals who are less likely to defend themselves. An individual of any age with access to technology can be affected by cyberbullying. Negative effects linked with cyberbullying include a decrease in life satisfaction, suicidal ideations, and psychological distress. Social media, being an online platform, which is vastly different from face to face interactions, emboldens some individuals to engage in hurtful behavior because while online, they are offered distance and anonymity. Sorry, excuse me. A toxic cycle can be created by the constant negative exposure to cyberbullying, online harassment, and negative comments. 10% of high school students have experienced some form of cyberbullying, which can be devastating to a youth's self image as well as cause anxiety and depression, and sometimes suicidal thoughts. Let us review what we have learned so far about the negative effects of social media. Social media can be harmful to the mental health of today's youth. Comparing themselves to others with unrealistic expectations, seeking reassurance and validations, and cyberbullying are some of the ways social media has had negative impacts. So, next time you are on social media, just remember what you read is not always real or the whole truth. Try not to compare your life and how it's going with someone else's because everyone's life timeline is different and unique to each person. Also, remember, there is not a one size fits all standard of beauty. So instead of comparing yourself to the looks of someone else, try loving yourself for who you are, which will avoid the heartache and the disappointment. Thank you. And here's my audience.